The country is concerned about, can we trust police? Are we safe with police? You didn't start this, but how much of it does your administration feel you're responsible for making an impact on?
Well, I think an enormous amount because of my particular experiences that I bring to this office. My mind went back to what it was like for me when I was 17, 18, 20. Eric Holder obviously takes it seriously. He's got a similar set of stories and experiences he can share.
How necessary are the protests that we're seeing all over the country?
As long as they're peaceful, I think they're necessary. Power concedes nothing without a fight. A country's conscience sometimes has to be triggered by some inconvenience. The value of peaceful protests, activism, organizing, is it reminds the society this is not yet done. But I'm going to stay on this. Most of it is not federal, but the federal government can have an influence. Well, we fund a lot of jurisdictions all across the country. Then for us to be able to say, you need to adopt these best practices, and if you don't, some of the funding that's available become less available. We're going to provide more to folks who are doing the right thing, and we're going to be investigating folks who are not doing the right thing. I think that becomes an important part of the leverage that we can exert. The Department of Justice already has authority. The standards at the federal level are higher. Doing it at the local level, doing it at the state level is going to be a lot more effective because to bring federal cases, it's a high bar. The minute somebody knows they're being watched, somebody's looking over their shoulder, black folks and Latinos and others are not just making this up. A combination of bad training in some cases, departments that really are not trying to root out biases or tolerate sloppy police work, folks just not knowing any better, and in a lot of cases, subconscious fear of folks who look different. National problem that's going to require a national solution. And the reason it's important for us to understand progress has been made is that then gives us hope that we can make even more progress. We have to be persistent because typically progress is in steps. It's in increments. You just have to be steady so that you don't give up when we don't get all the way there. Over time, you have enough better, 10 years, 20 years from now, simply by virtue of color, you've got less margin for error. And that's particularly true for black boys. We also want a boy who's a boy, or a young man who maybe is a little confused, maybe makes a mistake. We want them to be given the same benefit of the doubt as any other man would, or any other boy would be given. But I don't want them to be subjected to the kind of constant bias that makes them feel as if this is not their home, or that they cannot trust the institutions that are put in place supposedly to serve and protect them. There is, as I said before, less margin for error for African American or Latino youth. Dr. King once said, when he was asked about anti-lynching legislation, somebody said, well, you can't change what's in the hearts and minds of the white folks in the South. You can't legislate what's in their hearts. He says, well, you can't legislate what's in their hearts, but I tell you what, if you can just stop them from lynching me, that's progress. This is personal for me because of who I am and who Michelle is and who our family's members are and what our experiences are. This is something that is deeply rooted in our society. It's deeply rooted in our history. We have a history and a legacy of people not being treated fairly.